A very good morning. It's just past 8 this Monday morning and we're back again with Breakfast News. I'm Rukma and with me is Preeti. A very good morning to you, Preeti.
Rukma.
And viewers, over the next 1 hour, we take you through all the top stories from across India and the world as the Prime Minister today inaugurates RAISE 2020, the mega virtual summit on artificial intelligence. Also, we bring you news from the Northeast on the distribution of land pattas to 60,000 landless families, news from sports and much more.
Yes, it's a fresh start of the week and here we are back once again with this fresh edition of Breakfast News. We have a packed 1 hour ahead for you. We'll also get you updates on the Bihar political scenario. Yesterday we saw the BJP Central Election Committee held a meeting with top leaders in Delhi, and also LJP has announced that it will fight the elections in the state on its own, but also underlined the fact that at the national level its alliance with BJP is strong. We'll get more into it and also we'll get you other updates from the world of sports, business, international updates. Stay with us for the next 1 hour. First we get you the headlines.
Political heat rises in Bihar. BJP Central Election Committee holds meeting in Delhi with Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, BJP President JP Nadda and other top leaders. Deliberating over list of candidates, LJP announces decision to fight Bihar polls on its own, says tie-up with BJP remains strong at the national level.
Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate virtual conference on artificial intelligence called RAISE 2020 today. Artificial intelligence experts from 125 countries are coming together to talk about the future at the invitation of the IT Ministry and Niti Aayog.
Governor Jagdeep Dhankar summons West Bengal DGP police today in the wake of worsening law and order situation in the state leading to killing of a BJP councillor in political party office. BJP has called for a 12-hour band at the Barrackpore Lok Sabha constituency.
JEE Advanced 2020 result to be out today. Candidates can check their results on the official JEE Advanced website at jeeadv.nic.in.
War against COVID-19 rages on in the country. India has exceeded 140 tests per day per million population, as advised by WHO, by nearly 6 times. Recovery rate climbs to 84.13%.
In sport, Rafael Nadal and Dominic Thiem enter the quarterfinals in French Open. Teenager Swiatek bundles top seed Simona Halep out of the French Open.
Conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan enters second week. 18 Nagorno-Karabakh civilians killed by fire from Azeri forces, more than 90 wounded in the past week.
All right, so those were the top stories we're tracking this hour. Up next, we'll get to the news in detail. Let's talk of the RAISE 2020 summit, which will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister today evening. Or before that, let's get you an update on the Bihar political scenario. When we talk of the political scenario in Bihar, then political affiliations in Bihar have been seeing some flux in recent days after the announcement of the state assembly elections schedule. Now, the NDA's ally, Lok Janshakti Party, has announced that it will go all alone in the polls due to differences with the JDU while remaining by the BJP side. The Mahagathbandhan is having trouble as partners have started breaking away after announcement of seat-sharing quotas. Key decisions were also made in BJP Central Election Committee meeting held till late Sunday night, which was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, BJP President JP Nadda and other top leaders.
Nomination process is on for the Bihar Assembly elections. At the same time, Alliances and political parties are busy finalizing seat-sharing arrangements and lists of candidates. The NDA is preparing to put its best fighting foot forward. Sunday saw the Central BJP Election Committee holding its meeting where the list of candidates and election strategy were discussed. Those participating included Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda, Home Minister Amit Shah and top Bihar party leaders. The day also saw the BJP gaining a strong hand when former Union Minister Digvijay Singh's daughter Shreyasi Singh joined the party.
विकास की बात तो सभी करते हैं, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो एक मुहिम है, एक सपना है आत्मनिर्भर भारत का, मैं उस मुहिम को आगे बढ़ाना चाहती हूँ। मैं बिहार में एक विकसित बिहार, एक विकसित क्षेत्र बनाना चाहती हूँ। अगर पार्टी मौका देगी और जिस भी सीट से मौका देगी, मैं उस सीट से चुनाव लड़ूंगी।
Sunday also saw NDA alliance partner Lok Janshakti Party deciding to go it alone for the Bihar Assembly elections. The decision was taken at the LJP's parliamentary board meeting in Delhi. The LJP announced that at the national level and for Lok Sabha polls, it will remain the BJP's ally. But due to differences with the JDU, it will contest the Bihar elections separately.
बीजेपी का जहां कैंडिडेट होगा हम लोग वहां नहीं उतारेंगे, लेकिन जदयू के सारे कैंडिडेट जहां से लड़ेंगे सब जगह हमारा जो है कैंडिडेट उतरेगा और जीत कर आएंगे। बिहार में अच्छा मुख्यमंत्री बनाएंगे।
In the opposite camp, discontent is bubbling up in the Mahagathbandhan after announcement of seat-sharing arrangements. Mahagathbandhan partner Vikashsheel Insan Party or VIP chief Mukesh Sahni has announced his party's exit from the Grand Alliance over lack of clarity in quota of seats. Sahni has accused the RJD of stabbing the most backward community in Bihar in the back, saying it will be taught a lesson at the hustings. But Sahni is yet to announce his next move.
आपने देखा कि जीतन राम मांझी जी ने दलित का बेटा सिर्फ एक छोटा सा डिमांड रखा था कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी कि जो भी बात हो सबके बीच में बात हो। उनके मन में पहले से ही था कि हमें लोगों को चीटिंग करना है और 1 to 1 बात करना है। तो वहां पे 1 to 1 बात करेंगे तो निश्चित तौर पे कभी भी किसी को झुठला देंगे। तो जीतन राम मांझी को बात नहीं मान के किस तरीके से उसको बेइज्जत करके बाहर निकाला गया, किस तरीके से उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी जब केंद्र में मिनिस्टर थे, एनडीए के साथ थे, उनके साथ संबंध करके 5 लोकसभा देने के बाद उनको अपने घर में लाने के बाद उनको किस तरीके से पिछड़ा के बेटा को धक्का मार के बाहर निकाला गया, आप लोग से छुपा हुआ चीज नहीं है।
Seeking 25 seats, Sahni had stormed out of the Mahagathbandhan press conference on Saturday, where the alliance's seat-sharing arrangement was made public. It was announced that the RJD would contest 144 seats, Congress 70, and the left parties will fight 29 seats. But both the BJP and the JDU are of one mind that Bihar will not accept Tejasvi Yadav's leadership.
महागठबंधन के नेता तेजस्वी यादव होंगे, इसी घोषणा के साथ महागठबंधन के पराजय की शुरुआत हो चुकी है। उनका न राजनीति का अनुभव है, न प्रशासन का अनुभव है और वो नीतीश कुमार के मुकाबले में कहीं नहीं ठहरते।
Mahagathbandhan is Maha about it is the name. What is there? The same old thing where Tejasvi wants a newcomer to aspiring to be the chief minister, but ultimately there is a discontent, there is mistrust among themselves, and they are now accepting their defeat in Bihar. Every survey, everywhere it is saying that it is a clean sweep for the NDA government.
Bihar will be undergoing assembly elections in 3 phases. The first phase will be held on 28th of October, second phase on 3rd of November, and the third and final phase on 7th of November. Counting will be held on 10th of November. Bihar is the first state in the country to be going to the hustings in the COVID era. The Election Commission has changed several rules and protocols for campaigning and conduct of the polls in these challenging times. With Shailendra Mishra and Rajesh Raj in New Delhi, DD India.
And for the latest on the Bihar elections, we are joined by correspondent Salman Haider from Patna. Salman, a very good morning to you. The Lok Janshakti Party deciding to contest against the JDU even while it continues with the BJP. What seems to be the LJP strategy here?
LJP is in fact not happy with the JDU, and this equation is certainly going to benefit it as far as the seats are concerned, there are certain pockets in which they can gain majority, they can get access. The strategy is to gain as much as seats they can, and then pressurize to be in the government and form the government like a kingmaker, so that no one can form the government without it. So this is a kind of pressure LJP is putting on the alliance NDA. They are seeing some benefit in it, and they are they are trying to encash it in the coming elections. Yes.
Right, Salman, thank you so much for joining us there and for those inputs. And now moving on, the Bharatiya Janata Party has announced the names of 7 candidates for the by-elections for the State Assembly in Uttar Pradesh. Bulandshahr, Tundala, Ghatampur, Bangarmao, Naugaon, Sadat, Malhani and Devariya are slated to go for by-elections in the state.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate a mega virtual summit on artificial intelligence, RACE 2020 today. Now, the 4-day summit is first of its kind global meeting of minds on artificial intelligence to drive India's vision for social transformation, inclusion and empowerment. Organized by the Government of India and Niti Aayog, the event will witness robust participation from global industry leaders, key opinion makers, government representatives and academia.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate RACE 2020, Responsible AI for Social Empowerment 2020 on the 5th of October. RACE 2020 is a mega virtual summit on artificial intelligence organized by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and Niti Aayog. RACE 2020 will be a global meeting of minds to exchange ideas and chart a course for using artificial intelligence for social transformation, inclusion and empowerment in areas like healthcare, agriculture, education and smart mobility, among other sectors. The RACE 2020 summit will also feature some of the most exciting startups working in artificial intelligence related fields.
It is a conference which has participants from over about 120 plus countries. It is a conference with all the top stalwarts in the AI world, and it has a conference which has 43 sessions with 220 speakers and almost 125 countries, and all the top AI experts, practitioners, policymakers will all be participating in it.
The kind of talent we have, the kind of an opportunity we see before ourselves, this conference will act as a wonderful forum where we will get to see some of the finest experts from the area of technology, from the area of AI, not only from India but from across the globe.
At the RACE 2020, delegates and experts in research policy and innovation on artificial intelligence will join from 125 nations across the globe. The summit will discuss cross-sector subjects like leveraging AI for pandemic preparedness, the impetus that innovation places on digitization, inclusive AI, partnerships for successful innovation, etc. Industry analysts predict that AI could add up to $957 billion to India's economy by 2035. RACE 2020 will facilitate an exchange of ideas to create mass awareness about the need to ethically develop and practice AI. In the spirit of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Prime Minister Modi plans to leverage AI for inclusive development, representing the country's AI for All strategy. Home to the world's third largest startup ecosystem, elite science and technology institutions like the IITs, robust and ubiquitous digital infrastructure, India is well positioned to become a global leader in the development of artificial intelligence. India has the capability to stand out in the international community, not just as a leader in the artificial intelligence field, but also as a model to show the world how to responsibly direct AI for social empowerment. DD India. And the Supreme Court will today resume hearing on two public interest litigations seeking an extension of the moratorium period and waive of interest on the repayment of loans in view of COVID-19. The government, in its affidavit filed on Saturday, had assured that it will not be charging compound interest in all those cases where loan amounts are less than 2 crore rupees. The affidavit said that to ensure good health of the financial condition of banks, charging of interest is essential, and those who have availed moratorium on loans over 2 crore rupees will have to pay compound interest. The government has said that the banks cannot bear the burden of waiver on compound interest on MSME loans, education, housing, consumer, auto, credit card bills and personal loans of up to 2 crore rupees.
And to talk more about it, our correspondent Vikas Sarthi is joining us. Vikas, important day in the Supreme Court today. It will resume the hearing on two PILs when we talk of seeking an extension of the moratorium period and waiving off interest on the repayment of the loan amount in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. Given the limitations and the hardships which the people had to face during the COVID-19 pandemic period, how important is the day today in Supreme Court? And also very quickly take us through the stand which the government has also put forth.
Right, Preeti. The Supreme Court earlier asked Centre that what is the policy which is the government going to adopt, because on the earlier occasion the government didn't give any specific guidelines that what is going to do with the repayments. Now government has filed an affidavit which clearly states that bank alone cannot bear all these expenses, and in fact the affidavit says when the moratorium was announced, people were aware that it is just an extension of the period for repaying the EMI. It didn't mean that they will not have to pay any kind of interest. Now government says that what government can do is that the loans where the repayment was around 2 crore rupees, in those cases government will bear the brunt of this moratorium, and for that it will seek some kind of budget allocation. But for the loans above 2 crore, those people will have to pay compound interest because such large amount cannot be waived off. And apart from it, government is also of the opinion that if any kind of relaxation as demanded in these petitions is given, then banks may face acute financial crisis, and because of that the big amounts, the people who have taken big loans will have to pay their interest. So now it is clear that government has adopted a policy, and now court will decide that what should be the next course of action. But it is very clear that banks cannot be left alone because they are already under huge financial burdens. So it's a big relief for the people who have small loans up to 2 crore rupees. They will not have to pay compound interest, but other people, the big players, will have to pay their interest.
Right. As you said, it's a big relief for those who have availed loans of up to 2 crore rupees. Also, the government's decision to not charge interest over interest that it had announced. Now that the government has put forward its stand to the Supreme Court, when can we see is there a timeline? Is there a time period when we'll see the implementation of this, of what the government has said?
Well, so far as the implementation is concerned, whatever government has said in its undertaking will be conveyed to the banks, and then bank will follow up with. Now, court will decide whether these petitions should be heard for some more time or not, because whatever has been sought by the petitioners, most of the things have been accepted by the government. But at the same time, government informed the court that it cannot intervene to a larger extent, because banks have given those loans. They will have to run their businesses, and all kind of interest cannot be waived off. In fact, government has given an example that if all kind of interest is waived off, then the amount will be somewhere around 6 lakh crores. And in fact, in case study, the affidavit has given an example of SBI that if SBI gives a waiver to all its customers, then its net worth will become half of the present position. So it is not possible for the banks to bear all these burdens, and government will play its part. Government will give relief to those people who have taken small loans, but for the big players, they should be prepared to pay their interest.
All right, so relief coming in there for small borrowers. Thank you so much, Vikas, for joining us. We'll come back to you again during the day once the Supreme Court takes up this BIL. Up next, we'll get to other news. The Civil Services examination for selection of Group A civil services like IAS, IFS and IPS and other civil services conducted by UPSC began on Sunday. Selection to the civil services is done through a preliminary examination, main exam and an interview which are conducted by the UPSC. Candidates who clear the UPSC Civil Services prelims will be shortlisted for the main exam, which is scheduled to be held in January 2021. UPSC had earlier scheduled the exam on May 31st. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the exam was postponed.
And the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, will release the JEE Advanced 2020 results today. This year, a total of 1,60,831 students appeared for the JEE Advanced 2020 exam. The JEE Advanced result is likely to be declared at 10 a.m. on the official website jeeadv.ac.in. Once the results are declared, a category-wise All India rank of successful candidates will be available on jeeadvance.ac.in. The JEE Advanced 2020 exams were conducted by the IITs under the guidance of the Joint Admission Board 2020. This is the second stage of joint entrance examination for admission into the engineering programs of the prestigious IITs or Indian Institutes of Technology. The exam is conducted by 7 zonal IITs on a rotational basis as per the guidelines of IIT Exam Governing Body Joint Admission Board.
Commercial services to and from Phoolbagan station in Kolkata will begin from today. Minister of Railways and Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal inaugurated the Phoolbagan metro station of East-West Metro yesterday. Piyush Goyal also flagged off the first train from the newly inaugurated Phoolbagan station through video link. In his address, congratulating all for taking extra initiative to complete the work of Phoolbagan station in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, the minister said that this extension of services from Salt Lake Stadium to Phoolbagan will be of great help to the commuters, more so because of its proximity to Sialda station. Terming this as a gift for Durga Puja, he also said that Metro provides the safest, cleanest and fastest transportation system in Kolkata. It is to be noted that daily 48 services will be running from 8 a.m. till 7:50 p.m. from Salt Lake Sector 5 to Phoolbagan at 30 minutes interval. Now the last service will start from Salt Lake Sector 5 and Phoolbagan stations at 7:30 p.m. and there will be no service on Sunday.
Today will mark a historic day in the lives of 60,000 families in Assam as the state government distributes land pattas to indigenous people here. The state government will provide land pattas to nearly 60,000 indigenous landless families today in order to ensure the protection of land rights and the identity of the indigenous people of the state. The Assam government will distribute land pattas to around 60,000 families in 24 districts, which include Majuli, Jorhat, Sivsagar, Dibrugarh, Tinsukia, Gwalpara, Hailakandi, Kachar. State Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal will ceremonially distribute land pattas at a function in Majuli district today, whereas Health Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma will distribute it in Jorhat. Other ministers as well as MPs will be distributing pattas in the rest of the districts. It is to be mentioned here that early in February, nearly 40,000 landless families received land pattas. And joining us now is our correspondent Duina from Guwahati to tell us more about the distribution of the land pattas. Duina, a very good morning to you. It's a historic day in the history of Assam, the largest ever distribution of land pattas in a single day in the history of the state. Tell us more about the selection of the families. Tell us more about, how the process began, how it is being carried out, and the benefits.
Right, Rukma. Rukma. Actually, if we talk about the present government, the Sodhwal-led government, their main slogan, main motto was to protect the land rights, the identity of the people of Assam, the indigenous people. And accordingly, the election slogan was Jati Mati Bheti, that is the protection of the land, identity and homeland. And moreover, we can say that today is a historic day because 60,000 landless people will get land pattas. That is a big, major, issue, and definitely people were waiting for this. In fact, if we talk about the history also, since 1985, the Assam Accord started, been signed in presence of the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Accordingly, the people were waiting for their identity. They are, in fact, fighting for their rights, their identities, their homeland. So this government has decided to give land pattas, the land rights, to the indigenous people who don't have their own land. And accordingly, 60,000 families will be getting today. And earlier in February this year, around 45,000 families, they already received the land pattas. And yes, we have to mention here that 24 districts, this distribution will be held in 24 districts. The Majuli, the Chief Minister himself will ceremonially distribute the land pattas in Majuli district, his own constituency. Then Himanta Biswa Sharma in Jorhat, then accordingly in other rest of the 22 districts, all the other cabinet and other ministers as well as the MPs will distribute the land pattas to the people. And if we talk about the whole scenario, like, people are very much enthusiastic and very much happy, because I had a talk with 2-3 people even yesterday. They are like, yes, because the landless people, they were always in craving of the, they were always their
land rights. The granting of land rights with the distribution of these land pattas would make a big difference as far as preserving the identity of the indigenous people in the state, as the government, when it was voted to power in the state, as the government had promised, as you mentioned when you began doing that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Let's get to other news from West Bengal now. Political violence does not seem to die down in West Bengal. A local BJP leader, Manish Shukla, was on Sunday shot dead in front of Titagarh police station in North 24 Parganas district. State Governor Jagdeep Dhankar has summoned West Bengal Additional Chief Secretary for Home Affairs and the DGP today in the wake of worsening law and order situation leading to the killing of Manish Shukla. Meanwhile, the state BJP leadership has held a ruling party Trinamool Congress responsible for the murder. BJP General Secretary and BJP Central Observer for the state, Kailash Vijayvargiya, has demanded that the matter should be investigated by the CBI. He alleged that Trinamool Congress is taking no action, as always, against the culprits. State BJP General Secretary Sanjay Singh has said that West Bengal BJP has called for a 12-hour bandh in Barrackpur today in protest against the murder of Manish Shukla.
In his first direct comment on the Hathras issue, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has accused opposition parties of attempting to foment caste conflict and communal riots in the state and the country. He added that they are attempting to hamper the ongoing development work in the state to garner political mileage. The Chief Minister has also ordered the police department to work with utmost sensitivity and act swiftly in cases related to women and scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
Meanwhile, Additional Chief Secretary for Home Affairs of the state, Avnish Kumar Awasthi, and ADG Law and Order, Prashant Kumar, yesterday visited the family of the alleged gang rape victim in Balrampur district. A 22-year-old woman died after she was allegedly gang raped in the district on September 29th. After meeting the family, Avnish Avasti said that they have assured the family that stringent action will be taken against the guilty. Now, this case will be tried in a fast-track court. If required, action will be taken under the National Security Act. Till now, 4 accused have been arrested in this case.
And the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has said that WHO in its guidance note on public health criteria to adjust public health and social measures in the context of COVID-19 has advised that a country needs 140 tests per day per million population for comprehensive surveillance of suspected cases. It added that India has exceeded 140 tests per day per million population as advised by WHO by nearly 6 times. He also stressed that several states and union territories have demonstrated better performance than the national average.
And up next, we'll get you a quick look at how some states are positioned when we talk of the COVID-19 situation in the country. In Maharashtra, 13,702 new cases were reported yesterday. 15,048 patients were cured, while 326 deaths were reported in the past 24 hours. Currently, there are 2,55,281 active patients in the state. When we talk of Karnataka, 10,145 new cases were reported yesterday, while 7,287 patients were discharged. 67 deaths were also reported in the past 24 hours. Currently, there are 1,15,574 active cases in the state. In Tamil Nadu, 5,489 persons were tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. 66 deaths were reported, while 5,558 patients were discharged in the past 24 hours. In the national capital, Delhi, 2,683 new COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. 3,126 patients recovered, while 38 deaths were recorded in the past 24 hours. Currently, there are 24,753 active cases in Delhi.
And across the globe, we bring you all the latest updates in our next section. Take a look. And we begin with updates on the COVID-19 situation from across the world. The death toll has surpassed the 10 lakh mark. As per latest updates, 10,41,000 people have died worldwide due to COVID, while over 3,53 lakh people have been affected. As many as 2,66 lakhs have recovered from the virus so far. The United States continues to top the global tally, being the worst hit country by the pandemic so far. The US has the highest number of cases with over 76 lakh, 34,000 infected and more than 2 lakh, 14,000 deaths due to COVID-19. In terms of death toll, Brazil stands second in the tally with over 1 lakh 46,000 deaths. There are more than 49 lakh 15,000 cases of COVID-19 in Brazil.
US President Donald Trump surprised supporters gathered outside the hospital where he is being treated for COVID-19 by riding past in a motorcade. Wearing a mask, the US President waved from inside a car moments after tweeting that he would pay a surprise visit. Trump arrived at the hospital on Friday, just hours after publicly revealing that he and his wife Melania were infected with COVID-19. Meanwhile, doctors have said that Trump's condition is improving. Doctors told reporters that Trump had received oxygen on Friday and Saturday and is also being given steroids. Doctors said that the president has not run a fever since Friday and his liver and kidney function remained normal after the second dose of remdesivir. Trump could return to the White House by this evening, where doctors would continue his 5-day course of the intravenous antiviral drug remdesivir.
In other international news, 18 Nagorno-Karabakh civilians were killed by fire from Azeri forces and more than 90 were wounded in the past week as the conflict entered its second week. The human rights ombudsman of self-proclaimed Nagorno-Karabakh region, Artak Beglaryan, released a video calling on the international community to act, claiming that Azerbaijan's armed forces were targeting civilian areas in the region's capital, Stepanakert. The fighting began last Sunday and has surged to its worst level since the 1990s. Azerbaijan said on Sunday that Armenian forces had fired rockets at its second city of Ganja, killing 1 civilian and wounding 4, threatening to retaliate by destroying military targets inside Armenia. Armenia denied it had directed fire of any kind towards Azerbaijan. The leader of Nagorno-Karabakh has said his forces had targeted a military airbase in Ganja but later stopped firing in order to avoid civilian casualties.
In more international news, 7 bodies were found in a region straddling in the French-Italian border near Nice on Sunday after torrential rain swept houses and roads away. 5 of the bodies were discovered in northwestern Italy, including 4 washed up on the shore between the towns of Ventimiglia and Santo Stefano al Mare near the French frontier. 2 more were found in France, including a shepherd found by an Italian search and rescue team. The other body was found in a vehicle that had been swept away by flash flooding in the village of St. Martin Vesuvii. It also brings to 9 the total number of people found dead after fierce rains and howling gales lashed the border area on Friday. French firefighters said that another 21 people were missing, 8 of them known to be as a direct result of the storm.
Well, the Goods and Services Council is set to meet today to discuss issues about GST and states. Ajay Mishra will be joining us with more on that. Also, massive sales figures on Gandhi Jayanti coming up in a short while.
And yes, we'll get to the details of this 42nd meeting of the GST Council up next in our segment, BizBuzz. All right, when we talk of this 42nd meeting of the GST Council, it is going to be happening today, and the different stakeholders will put forth their point of view, and also very quickly we'll give a backgrounder to our viewers in just a while from now, wherein as many as 21 states had given their consent, and they were mostly ruled by the BJP and other parties, and they have supported it on this issue. And till now, till mid-September, had opted to borrow 97,000 crore rupees to meet the GST revenue shortfall in the current fiscal. The opposition-led states like West Bengal, Punjab and Kerala have not yet accepted the borrowing option given by the centre. The centre in August this year gave 2 options to the states to borrow either 97,000 crore rupees from a special window facilitated by the RBI or 2.35 lakh crore rupees from the market, and has also proposed extending the compensation cess levied on luxury, demerit and sin goods beyond 2022 to repay the borrowing.
And as we were telling you a short while back, despite the COVID pandemic, there was nothing that could dampen the spirits of Khadi lovers on the 2nd of October. The soaring spirit of Khadi lovers got better of COVID-19 fears with this Gandhi Jayanti, with the Khadi sales figures crossing the 1 crore rupee mark at Delhi's flagship Khadi India outlet in Connaught Place. On Friday, that's the 2nd of October, the overall sales of Khadi were recorded at 1 crore 2,19,496 rupees, and this was despite the prevailing corona pandemic situation. Last year, the total sale at Khadi CP outlet on the 2nd of October stood at 1 crore 27 lakh rupees. Khadi and Village Industries Commission attributed the massive sales figures to frequent appeals of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to buy khadi and also its growing popularity among the masses, particularly the youth. The high sales figures of khadi this year assumes greater significance. While almost all activities were closed during the COVID-19 lockdown, KVIC continued with its diverse activities across the country that includes the manufacturing of face masks and personal hygiene products like hand wash and hand sanitizers, apart from a vast range of fabric and village industries products.
And good to see these astounding figures put forth by Khadi. But Rukma, every crisis or every untoward situation brings it either the worst or the best in people. And here we see that the coronavirus pandemic also did the same. It has taught us healthy living, it has taught us hygienic living, and this is what is being attributed the biggest concern, the biggest precaution which we need to take against this pandemic, and be it hand washing, be it wearing masks, or for that matter taking other precautions health-wise. We have seen it all, we have done it all, and today also towards the end of the show we will be inaugurating and we will be launching a special initiative of Doordarshan, and this will be done on all the channels. Mask Up India is the initiative, wherein we encourage all of you to join our initiative of wearing a mask. Remember, this is the best precaution you can take for yourself and your near ones and dear ones to help save yourself and them from COVID-19 pandemic.
Right, so we're all gearing up for this campaign, which as doctors say, this is the one way by which we can prevent the spread of the
Stay with us,
pandemic.
we'll get you the details of this towards the end of the show, but at present we are getting you our next segment, that's Web Review. And to give us the web review, our correspondent Arun Sharma is joining us. Good morning, Arun. Let us see what headlines you've picked up this morning from web and the social media.
Good morning, Preeti. Good morning, Rukma. We are back once again with the web news review. Now, a couple of items that are trending on the social media and of course on the websites. The number one news item is from Hindustan Times. It says that Prime Minister Modi inaugurates mega virtual summit on artificial intelligence today. Now, this focuses on a complete in artificial intelligence, whereby the academicians, professors, researchers from various countries, various countries will be joining and giving ideas as far as artificial intelligence is concerned for social empowerment. And of course, the focus area will be agriculture sector, transport, mobility, healthcare sectors. These are some of the big areas whereby the focus will be. Second big news is from Times of India. Now, Times of India says the centre plans to utilize 40 to 50 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses on 20 to 25 crore people by the end of July. That means in next, close to 8 to 9 months. So you can say that, this fact that the various trials as far as vaccine is concerned is under various stages. And Dr. Hotspur, the Health Minister of India, has clearly said that by July, 20 to 25 crore people will be vaccinated as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned. And equitable distribution will be the focus area. This fact that various global collaborations are happening. In this context, this statement is very much important as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned. Third and important big news is from the Pink Paper Mint. It says economic recovery gained momentum in September. State Finance Minister clearly said that various economic indicators like auto sales figure, PMI data, GST numbers, all these numbers are indicating that yes, there is kind of a gaining of momentum as far as economic are concerned, and economic is gradually coming on track. Now, this is some of the news item that is documenting all the newspapers' headlines. Print is also picking up this news item. This item is Statesman. Now, Statesman says Delhi's iconic Akshardham temple will be reopening on 30th of October. So gradually, in various phases of unlock, various now monuments and various sites are opening up, and Delhi's Akshardham will also be opening up from 13th of October. Although time will be very much limited, it will be opening up for only 1.5 hours in the evening time. But yes, Delhi's iconic Akshardham will be opening up again from 13th of October. Now, next big item from DD's Twitter handle, that is DD News Live. It's the Khadi India flagship cannot place outlet that is outlet of TPP that got sales of 1 crore as far as Khadi items are concerned. So this is only about the Connaught Place that 1 crore transactions were done on 2nd of October, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already appealed to the citizens of our country to adopt khadi. So in that context, it is very much important. Last but not the least, it is about Sudarshan Patnaik, the sand artist, the town sand artist. Patnaik has tweeted beautiful saying that mask properly fight against COVID-19. Yes, sir. When uses all that to come up with make an initiative of Mask of India, here Sudarshan Patnaik, the stand artist, also telling people to wear mask properly.
Yes, that was our correspondent Arun joining us with web review. Wearing mask properly is highlighted, and that was the note on which he ended the press review, the web review. And up next, we'll get the sports track.
Moving on to sports, we tell you all the latest from the French Open and also in the Premier League, where champions Liverpool are humiliated in a one-sided match. Coming up next, sports track.
All right, let's begin with tennis first. A big turnaround was witnessed at the French Open, and Polish teenager Iga Swiatek dumped top seed Simona Halep out of the French Open with a crushing 6-1, 6-2 victory to make her maiden Grand Slam quarterfinal. Now, it will be the first career quarterfinal at a Grand Slam for Swiatek. Also, former Wimbledon junior champion will next meet Italian qualifier Martina Trevisan. Trevisan became the first qualifier in 8 years to reach the quarterfinals at the French Open. Third seed Elena Svitolina ended the run of local hope Caroline Garcia in the French Open with a comfortable 6-1, 6-3 win to move into a third quarterfinal at Roland Garros. Italian teenager Yannick Sinner became the first debutant to reach the French Open quarterfinals since Rafael Nadal in 2005 when he downed German 6th seed Alexander Zverev for 6-3, 6-3, 4-6, 6-3. Rafael Nadal blew away American qualifier Sebastian Corda for 6-1, 6-1, 6-2 to romp into the quarterfinals and close in on a record-extending 13th title at Roland Garros.
And in the Premier League champions Liverpool were humiliated 7-2 by Aston Villa in a one-sided match. A first-half hat-trick from Ollie Watkins helped Aston Villa to a stunning victory. Liverpool began badly at Villa Park as a poor pass from Adrian, deputising for Alisson in goal for the visitors after the Brazilian picked up a shoulder injury, gifted Watkins his opener in the 4th minute. With this defeat, Liverpool has become the first reigning Premier League champions to concede 7 in a game. The last time it happened in English football's top division was in 1953. In another match at the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur beat Manchester United 6-1. Anthony Martial's red card midway through the second half made Tottenham's job a lot easier, but Spurs were in full control of the game ever since they fell behind to a first-minute Bruno Fernandes penalty.
And time now to get to our next segment, Health, wherein we get you a special report every day to ensure you remain in good health and spirits.
Pain in the neck is a common problem affecting many. Cervical spondylosis can be the cause of persisting neck pain. Our correspondent Kiran Bharadwaj spoke to Dr. Bhavuk Garg about management and prevention of this disease. Take a look.
Cervical spondylosis is a problem that affects many people. What are the causes and what can be done to prevent this problem? Let's understand from Dr. Bhavuk Garg. Dr. Bhavuk, what is cervical spondylosis and what are the common causes of this problem?
Cervical spondylosis is actually a wear and tear of the cervical spine, which is usually seen as we age. It is commonly seen after 40 years of age, and it is very rare in children and in young adults. It is basically the degeneration of the bones and the discs which we have in the cervical spine, and it can also affect some people who are involved in particular professions.
Dr. Garg, who are the people having higher risk of developing cervical spondylosis?
Cervical spondylosis is commonly seen in people who are involved in computer works, who are involved in carrying heavy weights on their head, like building construction workers. The common symptoms of cervical spondylosis are pain in the neck. Sometimes people can also feel a tingling or a current-like sensation going into the arm. They can also feel weakness or gait disturbances, especially in advanced cases. And sometimes the bones may so much degenerated that they can also cause problems with swallowing and drinking.
What should be the proper management of cervical spondylosis?
Cervical spondylosis to a great extent can be inevitable for certain people. However, if some person develops symptoms, then he needs treatment, and nowadays we have good treatment available, both surgical and non-surgical.
What can be done to prevent this problem?
For preventing this cervical spondylosis, one can do regular exercises. He or she can have good control over his posture. Whenever one is working on computer, then he or she has to make sure that the screen is at the level of the eyes, and the arms and the hand, they are resting on the table and the chair.
Thank you, Dr. Garg, for this information. Do exercise regularly, maintain a correct posture, and take precautions to reduce the risk of cervical spondylosis. Kiran Bharadwaj, DD News.
Good diet and exercising regularly are the key points to maintaining good health. Up next, we get to our segment, History of the Day. It's 5th of October today. Let's take a look at the events which made this day special in history.
On this day in 1902, Ray A. Kroc, the American businessman who built the McDonald's fast food empire, was born in Oak Park, Illinois, in the United States. This day in the year 1947, US President Harry S. Truman delivered the first televised address from the White House, asking Americans to cut back on their use of grain in order to help starving Europeans. On this day in 1981, noted Hindi writer Bhagwati Charan Verma passed away. He wrote many novels. His and the in 1971. He was also nominated in 1978. Domination of his homeland.
It is very likely to move northwestwards towards North Andhra Pradesh and Odisha coast with gradual intensification into depression during the subsequent 2 to 3 days. A low pressure area lies over northwest Bay of Bengal and adjoining Odisha coast. Under its influence, fairly widespread to widespread rainfall very likely over Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand, Gangetic West Bengal in the next 3 days. Isolated heavy rains likely over Odisha during 5th to 6th October, over Jharkhand and Bihar on 6th and 7th, over Chhattisgarh during 5th to 7th, and over East Madhya Pradesh on 7th and 8th October.
Conditions are becoming favourable for further withdrawal of southwest monsoon from entire Rajasthan, some more parts of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, and some parts of Gujarat during the next 24 hours. Also, dry weather is likely over most parts of northwest India during next 5 days. Moderate thunderstorm and lightning at isolated places are likely over Assam and Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura during the next 12 hours. Also, widespread to fairly widespread rainfall is likely over Andaman and Nicobar Islands during the next 5 days, with isolated heavy rainfall during 7th and 9th October. Time now to get you temperatures across major towns and cities of the country.
Well, as a public service broadcaster, we at DD India not only bring you the latest news and updates, constantly strive to inform, educate and inspire social change. At a time when the world is battling corona pandemic, it becomes even.
We've been bringing you the most accurate news and analysis on the interface with doctors, your interface with doctors, scientists and administration. Now, with the gradual reopening of the country in a gradual manner, DD India is launching a Mask Up India initiative. This is a campaign from today onwards with an aim to get every person in India to wear a mask and also to wear it right.
Well, as Preeti was saying, the Mask Up India campaign begins from today. The aim is to get every person in India to wear a mask and to wear it right. The reason? That's the most effective, cheapest and best way to tame coronavirus.
Yes. And this campaign will run through the whole of October. So join us, and remember, wearing a mask is the only way to keep yourself safe and your near and dear ones safe as well. On this precautionary note, we'll end this breakfast show here. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Keep watching DD India. Namaskar.
A global pandemic that's causing havoc worldwide. Active COVID cases are increasing around the world. Search for an effective vaccine is on, but till then, the only option is caution and prevention. Face mask has been found to be the most effective means to fight the spread of COVID-19. World Health Organization and various researchers have also found that masks are critical to mitigating the spread of COVID-19. Wearing a mask helps prevent spread of COVID-19, but only if worn properly.
बिना मास्क या फेस कवर के घर से बाहर निकलने की अभी कल्पना करना भी सही नहीं है। ये जितना खुद उस व्यक्ति के लिए खतरनाक है, उतना ही उसके आसपास के लोगों के लिए भी।
Be a part of DD India campaign, Mask Up India. Wear a mask. Cover your mouth and nose properly. Ask your family and friends to wear masks and correctly.
Mask Up India.
Mask Up India.
It's a simple task. Just wear a mask.
Mask Up India.
Mask Up India.
Mask Up India.